Now, I know the CW made a Superman show starring Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulloch no less, but this is going to be something completely different. Previously, I made a video going over what if Arrow was a Batman show. Basically, what if the CW had access to the entirety of the DC universe? So they made a Batman show called The Bat, kicking off a shared TV universe known as the Batverse. The second primary show in this world is called Superman. You do not have to watch the first video first before watching this one. You could go back to watching that after this one, but this video will be focusing on the 9-season-long Superman show starring Tyler Hoechlin. Comment down below what you think the "My name is Clark Kent" intro will sound like, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Become a member in the Noble tier above for early access to videos, or the King tier for a special shout out. Thanks to all of these members for the extra support. While Superman and Lois focuses on a Superman 20 years into his career, this show will focus on a Superman just starting his career. Previously in The Bat Season 2, Tyler Hoechlin plays Clark Kent, who is just about to move from Smallville to Metropolis when he finds out about a super strength individual in Gotham. He goes there, investigates. That individual turns out to be Solomon Grundy, and Clark is then inspired by Batman to use his powers to become a hero. Soon after that, we met John Henry Irons and Leslie Willis, who work for Star Labs over in Metropolis. They visited Gotham to help Team Bat, and then returned. They're going to be series regulars on Superman. The 2014 to 2015 season features Superman Season 1, The Bat Season 3, a CW seed show called The Flash, Constantine on another network, and a crossover event, Batman vs. Superman. This is the year that the Batverse actually became a universe. Superman Season 1 takes place 9 months after Clark's visit to Gotham. He has since moved to Metropolis. He got a job at the Daily Planet, and for the last 9 months, he's been pining after Lois Lane, who is completely uninterested and dating Albert Michaels, became friends with Jimmy Olsen, and has been acting as a guardian angel to Metropolis, waiting for the perfect opportunity to fully reveal himself to the world. Now is when that finally happens. Star Labs' particle accelerator comes online, but fails, exploding over Metropolis, infusing many people and items with the energies of the Phantom Zone. This was a failed attempt by Star Labs director Emil Hamilton to free the Kryptonian inmates from the Phantom Zone, for a reason we'll learn soon. Hamilton works alongside John Henry Irons, Leslie Willis, and Albert Michaels. Secretly, he's a villain. Clark goes to investigate Star Labs, where he meets Emil, John, and Leslie, and learns about what is now known as the Phantom Wave. Two brothers are infected by this blast. One of them disappears, but Clyde Tryon becomes Neutron. He attacks a power plant for more power, which is when Clark shows up and defeats him. Clark is revealed to have already found the Fortress of Solitude and had some conversations with his father Jor-El, or his AI, and has learned about Krypton's destruction and how it was caused by the actions of a scientist known as Jax-Ur working for General Zod. Jax-Ur is revealed to have caused events that incurred the wrath of Apocalypse. Jor-El hopes that he sent Kal away from the grasp of Apocalypse, but is not entirely sure. Over the course of the next few episodes, Superman fights a few villains of the week, like Multiplex and the Mist, while slowly starting to work closely with Star Labs as they share intel and strategy. Coming to trust them, they begin imprisoning these metahumans, which is what they're now called. Lex Luthor debuts and then goes on to be a recurring menace throughout the season. The CW seems hell-bent on Kryptonian villains for the first 3 seasons, so Lex Luthor will not be the main villain for now. Instead, he's a businessman whose hatred for Superman starts to develop. Superman then clashes with the US government as one of their experiments, Plastique, escapes. This leads to him clashing with General Sam Lane, not helping with his pining after Lois, Sam's daughter. Sam is also confronted by another person working in the government, Hank Henshaw. Hank has Superman's back, and it's soon revealed that he's the Martian Manhunter, and now that Superman has revealed himself, he's considering doing the same. As Clark pines after Lois, Lois pines after Superman, as they start running into each other a couple of times, as Superman has to save Lois a few times in a row, and they form a connection. Lois, as a reporter, comes up with the name Superman. Superman faces off against Barrage and then the Kryptonite Man, who temporarily depowers him, allowing Clock King, arriving from Gotham, to cause trouble at the Daily Planet. When Superman doesn't come to save them, Lois loses trust in him. Throughout the season and then the rest of the series, Clark also has his meetings with the Metropolis Police Department, including Commissioner William Henderson and Detective Dan Turpin. In the crossover episode with the Bat, Bloodsport kills someone in Metropolis, and Superman traces him to Gotham City. As it turns out, Bloodsport was hired by Lex Luthor, who also hired Scarecrow, who douses Superman with kryptonite fear gas. Batman and Superman fight, Batman gets his hands on kryptonite and eventually manages to snap Superman out of it. Together, they head back to Metropolis, where they defeat Bloodsport, who was also equipped with kryptonite. Ultimately though, Lex Luthor gets away with it. At some point during these events, Superman tells Batman and Robin about the story of Nightwing and Flamebird from Krypton. In the mid-season finale, it'll be revealed that Emil Hamilton has now completed work on a fixed particle accelerator. He unleashes the Phantom Zone, letting out his master General Zod and his subordinates Non and Ursa. Now free, Zod and his lackeys fight Superman to a standstill. It's 3 versus 1, but Superman has far more experience with his powers and a lot more time to absorb sunlight. Realizing this, Hamilton causes a disturbance to distract Superman, allowing Zod to flee, disappearing to who knows where to absorb sunlight and to plan their endgame. Unaware of Hamilton's role in any of this, the Star Labs staff finds out Clark's identity as he gets close with Leslie and John, as we begin to learn more about who Emil Hamilton actually is. As it turns out, Emil Hamilton's origin story connects directly to Clark's. When Kal-El was sent to Earth, a little bit of rubble came with him. This was kryptonite. The kryptonite was taken in by the US government, who outsources it to Star Labs. It was studied by Hamilton, who found it has some sort of connection to another dimension. Contacting that dimension, he comes into contact with Jax-Ur and Zod and is manipulated into thinking that these prisoners were captive of a greater evil. Jax-Ur teaches Hamilton how to build a device called the Eradicator, which Jax-Ur tells him is meant to free them, but that is not the case. We'll later learn something else. Superman then fights the Silver Banshee and then Maxima, who is an alien princess who comes to Earth after hearing about Superman, a man worthy of her love. She gets mad when he turns her down. At the same time, Clark meets a TV reporter named Tana Moon. They date for a few episodes before Tana realizes that Clark is in love with Lois. Sam Lane and the government return as they traced phantom energy on Albert Michaels. They experiment on him and unleash his powers. He then becomes the Atomic Skull. He loses his mind a bit and Superman defeats him. Because of these events, Lois finds out that Clark is Superman, but her main takeaway is that she gets angry at Clark for not telling her earlier. But also, Sam Lane, noticing what he did to his daughter's boyfriend, begins to doubt what he's doing. Superman faces off against Neutron, who is far more powerful than his brother, while we learn about Hamilton's true origin. We learn that the device he built, the Eradicator, did not open the Phantom Zone. Instead, it switched the minds of Emil Hamilton and Jax-Ur, so this entire time, he was Jax-Ur. After the particle accelerator explosion, he stuck around to build another one, but after that, as General Zod came back, he didn't have his powers, so he stuck around on the team as a double agent. Zod and his lackeys return, this time overwhelming Superman. Refusing to kill him because he's Kryptonian, they do beat him half to death as a warning. They then take over the Fortress of Solitude and use it as a base of operations, changing it into a terraforming device that they plan to use to change Earth into New Krypton. Meanwhile, Superman and Star Labs prepare for battle, dealing with multiple threats along the way, like the Prankster, a copycat of the original Prankster, who then also shows up. In one episode, Barbara and Blue Beetle show up to help fight a villain named Carapax, who is gender bent. Ever since finding out that Clark is Superman and losing her boyfriend, Lois has been investigating Hamilton and discovers his secrets. A part of that means traveling to Gotham alongside Jimmy Olsen, where they meet Selina Kyle. When they come back, they come to Superman with this knowledge, which is a reveal that comes at the perfect time for Hamilton, as it was too late to stop his plan anyway. He has cultivated enough X-Kryptonite, which is an item that has popped up over the course of the season, to give himself Kryptonian powers. Now becoming a full-on Kryptonian, Hamilton, or Jax-Ur, uses his powers to leave and join Zod. Helpless against 4 Kryptonians, Superman doesn't know what to do as the terraforming process begins. Things only get worse when Jax-Ur unleashes a creation of his, a giant monkey named Titano. Superman defeats him. Superman recruits Batman, who at the time was Al-Kuafash, as well as the Martian Manhunter, finally revealing himself, and together they defeat Zod, Non, and Ursa, sending them back to the Phantom Zone. As it turns out, Jax-Ur turned on them and led them into a trap, revealing his plan all along. Jax-Ur always hated Krypton. He incurred the wrath of Apocalypse on purpose, and now he intends on annihilating any last remnant of Krypton by destroying Earth in the same way, incurring the wrath of Apocalypse. He reveals he made changes to the terraforming device, turning it into an interdimensional weapon that can pass through the Phantom Zone and then hit Apocalypse. That way Apocalypse would destroy both Earth and the Phantom Zone. He starts the process of it being set off. Jax enhances himself with more X-Kryptonite and attacks the team in Metropolis, overwhelming Superman and Martian Manhunter. Lois, meanwhile, finds Albert and convinces him to help. Superman pushes the fight to the Fortress of Solitude, using the battle to destroy the fortress and the device, sacrificing his connection to his father to do so. Albert and Jean fly in and defeat Jax-Ur, but the device being destroyed while active goes haywire, creating a second phantom wave in the form of a large black hole in the sky that threatens to swallow the world. Atomic Skull pulls the energy into himself, and he saves the day, but he dies. Elsewhere, a man is seen in the shadows escaping a lab. When he leaves, he flies away. Also, throughout the season, Clark went to visit his parents in Smallville from time to time, with his father in particular giving a few emotional talks. The 2015 to 2016 season features Superman Season 2, The Bat Season 4, Wonder Woman Season 1, The Flash Season 2, and a crossover event known as World's Finest, which then sets up Justice League of America Season 1. In Season 2, Star Labs finally managed to switch Emil and Jax-Ur's minds back, meaning we meet the real Emil Hamilton, who is far more arrogant but well-meaning. It'll be revealed that Emil has a daughter named Elizabeth. She thinks that she was abandoned, and Emil spends the season trying to reconnect with her. We are then introduced to the season's villain, a terrifying mass serial killer with Kryptonian powers. His name is Ultraman. At the same time, we are introduced to Project Cadmus, an organization where Emil used to work, which has now invented cloning tech. After Superman's debut, Cadmus shifted their focus to him, creating a clone named Kon-El, along the way making a few failed clones, including someone named Double X, who Superman fights in episode 1 during Superman Day. Double X dies while fighting Superman. Not too long ago, Kon-El escaped and now tracks down Superman to reveal himself. Pretty quickly, Kon becomes Superboy as the sidekick to Superman as they team up to defeat Anomaly, a clone with the ability to absorb any material he touches. At the same time, as Lois grieves the loss of her boyfriend, Clark starts dating a different reporter named Cat Grant, although she only sticks around until the midpoint of this season. Superman meets Mari McCabe, aka Vixen, a visiting hero from out of town helping with an enemy of hers who came to Metropolis, her sister Kuasa. This sets her up for a role in the Justice League show. Martian Manhunter also leaves the show for the same reason. The next clone they fight is Cherub, a speedster and clone of Tana Moon. They then use the real Tana to lure in Ultraman. With Kon-El otherwise occupied, Ultraman beats Superman to a bloody pulp in a brutal battle that causes a lot of property damage. Ultraman tries to kill Superman, but is stopped when Leslie shows up to beg for his life, hinting that Ultraman knows her. Titano returns while Superman is left recovering. Titano is defeated by Superboy and put into Argus custody, while Clark goes to the Fortress of Solitude where he finds a hidden AI of his mother. Together they rebuild and Clark is healed by the fortress as well. In the crossover event, Superman teams up with the Bat family as they team up to deal with whatever trouble Booster Gold caused. Meanwhile, Khan convinces Emil to help him track down X-Kryptonite, which was created by the Phantom Wave to help him enhance himself. They do exactly that. In the mid-season finale, Prankster and Neutron team up to lure Superman into a trap while Lois is reunited with her father and sister and crazy family drama ensues. Ultraman terrorizes Emil Hamilton into getting him the DNA of each member of the Super Friends, threatening to kill his daughter if he doesn't. General Zod then mysteriously escapes the Phantom Zone. Superman stops him as it's revealed that he was let out by Ultraman. Then Superman fights the Helgramite, who was created by the original particle accelerator explosion and only now resurfaces. As the super team find out the source of all these villains, they infiltrate Project Cadmus and find out some disturbing facts. They fight someone named Guardian, who, when unmasked, reveals John Henry Irons. It turns out that Ultraman took over Project Cadmus after the death of Dabney Donovan and recently cloned every person in Clark's life with the intention of killing and replacing all of them and replacing Clark himself. They also find a room with dozens of more Superboys. Clone Leslie is Livewire, hinting that our Leslie has powers as well. Ultraman shows up angry enough to cause some real damage, mistakenly killing most of the clones and destroying Project Cadmus. In his rage, Ultraman kills Superboy before the team can escape. Feeling guilty, Emil reveals to the team that he was the one who gave Ultraman their DNA. After Clark and Cat break up, Clark and Lois finally kiss and start dating. Superman fights King Shark and another clone named Seraph before finally the big reveal. During the Cadmus invasion, Superboy was acting a bit differently. They chalked it up to him returning to his place of birth, but in reality, that wasn't the same Superboy. It was a new clone. Ultraman and the original Superboy, up until that very week, are one and the same. Ultraman unmasks himself and taunts a prisoner of his, a man in a metal mask. Inspired by his clone, John Henry Irons builds a suit of armor, calling himself Steel. Superman and Steel face off against Silver Banshee, clones Lupek and Genome, as Ultraman switches his plan. Sending clones like Dragarin and Auron to distract the team, Ultraman finds the Catwoman clone that he made and sends her on a heist to steal some X-Kryptonite. The Super Friends defeat everyone as Superman reaches a new level of power with which he is confident he can defeat Ultraman. Just like last season, Superman would periodically go visit his parents in Smallville throughout the season. Now his parents come visit him in Metropolis as Clark and Lois's families insist on meeting. Ultraman shows up and kidnaps Jonathan Kent. Clark immediately flies after him, revealing his identity to Sam and Lucy Lane. Ultraman kills Jonathan and then escapes. After the funeral, Ultraman challenges Superman to a duel, during which he overdoses on X-Kryptonite and transforms into Doomsday. The battle gets more and more intense. Steel tries to help, but it's to no avail. Superman and Doomsday punch each other to death. Holding his dead body, Lois confesses her love for him. Now in mourning, the super team find the man in the iron mask and unmask him, revealing that he's not a man, but a teenager. The true template for the Superboy clone, Connor Kent, will learn his origin soon. The 2016 to 2017 season includes Superman Season 3, The Bat Season 5, Wonder Woman Season 2, Justice League of America Season 2, and a crossover event called Our Worlds at War. In Season 3, Superman is dead, but the Supermen pick up the slack. Connor Kent is revealed to come from another timeline where he's the world's one and only hero. He has the same origin as Superman, but instead of Clark, he was just named Connor, and he's younger. He fell through the Phantom Wave at the end of Season 1, which is revealed to have caused a rift in the multiverse, bridging the two worlds. When he arrived, he was disoriented enough to be able to be captured by Cadmus. He acts as the world's Superboy while he and Star Labs try to create a small portal to send him back, but ultimately fail. There's also a masked Kryptonian named Black Zero. Together, these three defeat Lex Luthor, who is sent to prison. These heroes are also being spied on by certain others while they deal with Luthor. These others turn out to be three members of the Legion of Superheroes: Mon-El, Saturn Girl, and Brainiac 5. They return to the present day for two missions. One is to resurrect Superman. They gravesteel his body and bring it to the Fortress of Solitude. The Fortress gets to work as Steel and Superboy track the Legion down. They fight Brainiac 5 and Saturn Girl, while Mon-El uses a futuristic rod that he uses to hit Superman's healing matrix with a lightning bolt that infuses it with enough energy to resurrect Superman. This had a high risk potential, but Mon-El survives. Superman is resurrected and given a solar absorbing temporary black suit. The Legion's second goal comes in the following episode as they reveal that Connor Kent hails from Earth 38. Our world is Earth 1, but there is now no connection between the two worlds. It's impossible to get back. Instead, Connor Kent joins the Legion as a member in their future. Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes will return periodically. Now, with the concept of the multiverse established, it will connect to the overarching story of this season. We then meet a new reporter at the Daily Planet who replaced Clark when he died, Julian Alexander. Clark does not get along with him, but Leslie Willis very much will. With Superman still healing, he and the team face off against a villain named Parasite, who runs a cult of followers dedicated to Parasite's pendant, known as the Oblivion Stone. This cult preaches connecting to your darker half, or your shadow. Parasite is secretly working for Black Zero. Superman also fights Toyman and Volcana, who are a couple, with the latter getting her powers from the initial Phantom Wave, and then Psy, a Kaiju, and Atom Man, who all fell through the rift from alternate timelines. We soon learn that Black Zero did the same. Emil Hamilton and his daughter move away from Metropolis, but he's soon replaced with an alternate timeline version of himself named E.M. Hamilton, who fell through the rift. In his timeline, he was a disgraced fraud of a scientist. He's not a genius, but he does have a heart of gold and is pretty creative. Meanwhile, Leslie Willis starts freaking out as she starts manifesting lightning abilities. Fearing she'll turn into the evil Livewire, she hides her powers. Jimmy Olsen meets a woman named Linda who acts a bit unusually, like a fish out of water. Jimmy suspects she's an alien, but falls in love with her anyway. Later, they will start dating, but soon, Linda reveals to Jimmy her powers. Jimmy connects Linda to the super team, which was her entire goal. Linda is Kara Zor-El, Superman's older cousin who was also sent away from Krypton to Earth, but her pod was knocked off course, and she fell into the Phantom Zone. She escaped after the second Phantom Wave, but landed in the Arctic with no clue where she was. Wandering for months, she finally arrived in civilization and saw Superboy, while Superman was dead at the time, wearing the sigil of the House of El on the Daily Planet news. So she headed to the Daily Planet and there met Jimmy. Black Zero and Parasite act from the background, manipulating events to push Leslie Willis into fully shifting into Livewire, a sort of evil second personality. Leslie manages to get her personality back, however, for now. In the crossover event Our Worlds at War, Earth is invaded. World comes to the solar system having heard of the powerful heroes of Earth. Mongol wants to recruit them for his war world. These events include hero versus hero battles on World, a few heroes stuck in a simulation, and a final battle against the Warzoons and Mongol on Earth, in which Kara debuts as Supergirl. During this crossover, the Trinity is solidified as they all become official part-time members of the Justice League of America. In the mid-season finale, we learn that Black Zero is from an alternate timeline in which he reveals that he killed his world's Lois Lane, promising to do it again and getting close to doing so. The Phantom Wave created the Oblivion Pendant, which connects people to their alternate world selves. Superman and Black Zero battle, but Superman feels weaker whenever near Black Zero. Parasite is revealed to be Julian Alexander, taken over by his alternate timeline self. Black Zero takes the pendant for himself, detaching Parasite from Julian. From there, Julian helps the team and dates Leslie, but leaves before season 4. The super team face off against Prankster, Avruskin, White Rabbit, Blackrock, and Volcano Man. As the story unfolds, we learn that the reason Superman felt weaker when next to Black Zero is because his suit is powered by a Red Sun core. Black Zero is unmasked to reveal Clark Kent himself, but he's deformed and evil, as it's revealed he hails from the alternate timeline known as the Inverse or Bizarro world. He's El-Kal, aka Kent Clark. Then there's a two-part event where Superman and Supergirl put on yellow stud suits to travel to the Bizarro world using a connection that Julian Alexander has within him to create a portal to the other dimension. There they team up with the world's primary hero, Luthor Lex, as they learn more about Black Zero, but unfortunately everybody there speaks backwards. Black Zero's suit is what translates him. They fight Girl Super and Boy Super, and Luthor dies as they escape, having learned who Black Zero is. With everything out in the open, they start calling Black Zero Bizarro, while the team tries to protect Lois. Bizarro begins to rely on the pendant as it draws in red sun energy from his world, so he no longer needs his suit. Meanwhile, Sam Lane begins dating a veteran reporter named Toby Raines, who has been appearing in a recurring role since season 1, but her role will grow in every single season going forward. Along the way, Lois and her father also grow closer. Sam begins to respect Superman and even approves of their engagement, which happens in a bit of a break from the doom and gloom. While Batman is being tortured by Prometheus, Superman and Wonder Woman have a mini crossover called Duet as they're forced into a musical reality by Mr. Mxyzptlk. And then at the end of the episode, Clark and Lois get engaged. Leslie loses control again to Livewire as Bizarro's plan shifts as he begins to believe that the two timelines are two halves of one whole, and so plans on using the pendant powered by Livewire's lightning to merge the timelines together. When Superboy and the Legion return, Bizarro takes the opportunity to merge them with their Bizarro counterparts. They are unmerged but stick around for the final battle. Titano escapes Argus captivity and Superman teams up with the Suicide Squad to stop him. In the finale, Bizarro is stopped from killing Lois as E.M. Hamilton sacrifices his life to save her. Bizarro then starts merging the worlds together. The two worlds glitch in and out of each other as the heroes all fight for control over their Bizarro selves. This all comes to a head when Lois shoots the Oblivion Stone pendant, unmerging the worlds and detaching them from each other. This experience fractures Bizarro's mind, turning him into a dumb, backward-speaking, classic Bizarro. The Legion all return to their timeline while Lex Luthor is revealed to have escaped from prison. The 2017 to 2018 season includes Superman Season 4, The Bat Season 6, Wonder Woman Season 3, Justice League of America Season 3, Green Lantern Season 1, another CW seed series called New Gods Mr. Miracle Season 1, and the crossover event called Forever Evil. In between seasons, the super team has gone through a bit of a change. Superman has a new suit, and Lois Lane has become an integral part of the team's tactical leader. Hammering this home, when Clark struggles with a villain in the next episode and a few more times in the season, Lois tries to reassure him by telling him, "No, you are not Superman, we are." They face off against Silver Banshee before the city is attacked by a green drone with the Brainiac symbol, which they recognize from Brainiac 5. They destroy it as we meet Milton Fine, a genius hacker spying on the super family for his master, who he talks to through his screen, and who we don't see for a good while, Brainiac. However, as Superman contacts the Legion of Superheroes to find out about Brainiac, Brainiac 5 tells him basically everything he needs to know. This season does not have a mystery. Milton Fine has given a few villains high-tech weaponry. The super team fight Reactron, Conduit, and Black Bison. Supergirl leaves the show because the actress wanted to. However, instead, she joins the Justice League show. Heartbroken, Jimmy Olsen goes on on a journey of self-discovery across the world, so he also leaves the show. The writers just can't think of anything left to do with him. Emil Hamilton returns as his daughter went to college. He'll later try to enhance his intelligence to outthink Brainiac, but this fries his mind, and from then on out, he's a simpleton. Also in that plotline, we'll meet the Council of Hamiltons. A side story shows Livewire living in the criminal element of the city, meeting mob bosses like Bruno Mannheim and Baron Sunday. This culminates in an episode surrounding the bachelor and bachelorette parties of Clark and Lois. Barbara shows up for the bachelorette party, and the girls find themselves dealing with these mob bosses. Livewire becomes a hero and rejoins the team. However, in order to distance herself from the villainous role that Livewire had, she changes her name to Spark. One of the people given a weapon by Milton was Henry Hewitt. Henry attacks his former employer, Professor Martin Stein. Stein is caught in a small nuclear blast alongside another employee, Ronnie Raymond, and together they become Firestorm. In the crossover event, Lex Luthor puts together a large group of villains known as the Legion of Doom, as he finally accepts what up until this point he has refused to accept: Clark Kent is Superman. Clark and Lois have a wedding, which is where the heroes all come together for, but it's interrupted by the Legion of Doom. It'll be revealed that the Legion have been enhanced by technology given to them by an alien named Mantis. This connects to the Mr. Miracle show, where we learn all about it. The heroes go to New Genesis, recruit a few new gods, Blue Beetle dies, Mantis and the Legion are defeated, and Clark and Lois finally get married, although it's interrupted by Bruce and Barbara, who do the same. Also in this crossover, we'll meet a mysterious girl with some sort of connection to Clark and Lois. Soon, we see Brainiac for the first time as his plan is revealed. He used Milton to cause enough chaos on Earth, with extraterrestrial weaponry no less, to get the attention of the Tribunal, an extraterrestrial court. Brainiac frames Superman for illegal weaponry trafficking as he's arrested, leaving Earth without its greatest defender. Superman spends a few episodes in an alien jail, where most aliens just look like regular people with mild cosmetics, with one major exception: the bounty hunter Lobo. Superman and Lobo partner up. While back on Earth, the team defend Metropolis from Prankster and his new partner, his mother Prank, Dwarfstar, and the mob bosses, while finding a way to exonerate Superman. They do, but it's too late. Brainiac spent the last few episodes installing devices across the city that he uses to miniaturize Metropolis to add to his collection. The team just so happened to have been at the Fortress of Solitude at the time, since it's from there that they contacted the Tribunal. Brainiac's next step is to destroy Earth. He sends Metallo, a new villain he has created, to slow the team down while he creates a device that can destroy Earth. Just after Superman is let go, and luckily for Brainiac, a meteor comes crashing to Earth. Superman is pushed to his limits as he does everything in his power to push it back, but it's too powerful. He calls in the help of the Legion, but ultimately he sends it to the Phantom Zone. The following episode focuses on Lois in the shrunken city of Metropolis, going to Star Labs, taking X-Kryptonite, and becoming Superwoman to destroy the Brainiac drones. She runs out by the end of the episode. Discovering Brainiac's true intentions, Milton Fine turns on him. The team infiltrate Brainiac's ship and bring back both Metropolis and the Kryptonian city of Kandor, which Clark brings to the fortress to come up with a place to put them. Metropolis, however, is enlarged. Its borders are permanently damaged, but they are mostly fine. The team deal with another apocalyptian known as Kanto. Then in the finale, Brainiac unleashes his device to destroy the world. Early in the season, Toby will reveal to Sam that she's pregnant. Later in the season, she'll develop telepathic abilities that she uses to help stop Brainiac in the finale, right before giving birth to Jenna Lane. Even still, the entire team are not enough to destroy the device and defeat Brainiac. However, the mysterious girl from the crossover returns, and she's revealed to be a Kryptonian. She helps destroy the device, and Brainiac is killed. Superman's suit, however, is destroyed in the process. This girl then reveals her name is Lara Kent. She is known as Power Girl. She is the daughter of Clark and Lois. The 2018 to 2019 season features Superman Season 5, The Bat Season 7, Wonder Woman Season 4, Justice League of America Season 4, Green Lantern Season 2, New Gods Mr. Miracle Season 2, and a crossover event called Trinity. In Season 5, we learn how Lara hails from the future. She was sent back to the present day for a few reasons, which we'll learn over the course of the season, including meeting her father for the first time as he's destined to die in a coming crisis, helping stop the season's villain, and eventually, it'll be revealed that in the future she allied herself with Lex Luthor. With his suit destroyed, Superman goes back to his old suits until Lara gives him one from the future, one with a weirdly little logo. Supergirl returns in the first episode to meet her new family members, but then leaves series again. Lois Lane spends the season investigating the villains while trying to connect to her daughter, but Lara only seems interested in spending time with her father. And of course, CW drama ensues. Toby is revealed to still have her powers even after giving birth, and then after Emil leaves again, we meet Sherlock Hamilton, a detective from Earth 221. Manchester Black is a powerful psychic who calls Superman out for not killing, allowing villains to return again and again, and generally being ineffective. In the season, every time a villain shows up and then is defeated by the super team, they are then easily killed by Manchester or maybe recruited by him. Those include Kilgrave, Red Cloud, and Danielle Swan. Hat, Menagerie, and an alien named Moray are all recruited, becoming the elite. Spark is retconned into having been a part of Leslie from birth as we meet her father, Thomas Willis, aka Lightning Master. Manchester Black is revealed to be motivated by how his sister, Vera, was crippled by a villain that Superman failed to kill. Superman and Lara are put through a mental hallucination by Manchester Black in which they meet or face off against Brainiac, Bizarro, Ultraman, and Jax-Ur, the four main villains of the series, all for the show's 100th episode. After they break out of this hallucination, Manchester Black's psychic powers kinda just don't have an effect on these two anymore, so he's not really a threat, despite the fact that he's the main villain for another 6 or 7 episodes. Then the crossover event. Metron recruits Dr. Destiny to test the Trinity. Superman and Batman switch lives, they fight Amazo, meet Aqualad as Atlantis debuts in the Batverse, and things switch back. The final crisis is confirmed to be the next crossover. Lara, a 25-year-old woman, starts acting like a child as the elite rises in popularity. Lex Luthor uses their rising tide and Superman's waning popularity as a way to get back into the good graces of the public. Power Girl keeps messing up and the elite keeps taking advantage of that. Morgan Edge debuts as a rival mob boss for Mannheim. Episode 15 features a big fight between Titano and King Shark. King Shark being redeemed now, he is added to the ranks of the Suicide Squad. Superman finally gets through to Manchester Black after a brutal demonstration and speech. Manchester Black wavers on his mission, and then a furious Vera Black reveals that she has powers of her own. She kills Manchester and becomes Sister Superior, a much more brutal murderer. She then kills Leslie's father. A flashback episode, or maybe flash forward episode, shows the events leading to Lara traveling back in time, including being manipulated by an elderly Lex Luthor from prison and fighting an escaped Phantom Zone prisoner named the Phantom King before returning to our time using a time sphere. Luthor takes charge as he helps defeat Vera Black. It'll be revealed that the elderly Luthor planned to use Lara to destabilize events in the past when Superman's public image was most vulnerable. This way, he rewrites his own life and succeeds. In the present day, Luthor kills Sister Superior and becomes popular enough that he announces a campaign for presidency in the 2020 election. The future Lara comes from is erased, and she follows. Seeing Apocalypse for the first time, we meet Darkseid, who teases he's coming for Earth. The 2019 to 2020 season includes Superman Season 6, The Bat Season 8, Wonder Woman Season 5, Justice League of America Season 5, Green Lantern Season 3, Aqualad Season 1, and a crossover event called Final Crisis. In Season 6, the series gets a new showrunner and goes in a bit of a different direction as they stop abiding by the CW's 20+ episode long seasons and instead break the seasons into arcs. The first arc is called Life and Death and follows the team fighting a man named Rudy Jones, who becomes the second Parasite, this one being more monstrous and more sinister. He drains the life force of people, turning them into borderline zombies. He connects to Leslie Willis. He puts Clark through a brutal hallucination as Clark has been dealing with his mortality and prophesies death in the coming crisis, as well as kind of losing his daughter. After a nasty divorce from Pete Ross, Lana Lang moves to Metropolis and reconnects with Clark, only to more so connect with John Henry Irons. They start dating. After Perry White retires, Lois Lane becomes editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet. Along the way, we meet a hacker named Gus Gorman who joins the team, as does someone named Allegra Garcia, who was created by the showrunner. She connects to the new Hamilton. We meet Emil Nash Hamilton, who comes from another world. On that world, he was a popular news show host and the adopted father of Allegra Garcia. Slipknot appears fighting Firestorm, and the Time Trapper appears as well, with the Legion of Superheroes in tow. Parasite is defeated in episode 8, and then the crossover event is in episode 9. The Batverse's epic conclusion occurs in the Final Crisis crossover event. Superman takes center stage as Darkseid invades. At the start, his invasion occurs on the ground level of Metropolis, using Dan Turpin as a host. Nash Wells is revealed to be Glorious Godfrey, a member of Darkseid's elite who took the form of a human being, choosing Emil Hamilton so that he could get close to Allegra Garcia, so that he could use Allegra to use her light-based powers to open something called the Eternium Wall under Metropolis, in which lies the anti-life equation. Glorious Godfrey gives the anti-life equation to Darkseid, who successfully takes over the world. Dan Turpin's willpower manages to take back mild control, allowing himself to save a few heroes from the anti-life equation. Those heroes rebel, team up with Batman to reverse the effects, and Darkseid takes his true form as the Justice League fights and defeats him. Despite his prophesized fate, Superman survives. Instead, it was actually a different Superman who died, Connor Kent of Earth 38. No longer Superboy, he's now Superman. He sacrifices his life to help save the world during this crossover. Back to Superman Season 6, the second arc is called Toy Soldiers and focuses on the aftermath of the final crisis, including Black Lightning guest starring mourning Batman's death with Superman, but the writing takes a steep downtrend that just keeps on getting worse and worse under a frankly awful new showrunner who sidelines Superman in favor of his OC Allegra, and then Toby for some reason, who he seems to really like. Lex Luthor begins his campaign for presidency. Emil Hamilton returns and then dies, retiring the character for good, and his endless duplicates. We meet Dorian Day, Ronnie's girlfriend in the comics. She's reimagined as a cat burglar targeting the Sons of Liberty, an anti-alien terrorist group. Mannheim returns as Intergang gets their hands on Apocalypse and Tech, but he's killed and replaced by Morgan Edge as the leader of Intergang. For the rest of the season, the team face off against the Sons of Liberty with members Agent Liberty, Vigilante, Sunshine, and Ultraviolet, as well as the true main villain, Jacqueline Nimble, aka Toy Woman. She is the ex-wife of Ben Lockwood, out for revenge against him, and inspired by the original Toyman. Titano returns, revealed to have grown in intelligence, Supergirl returns for one episode, and Silver Banshee returns as well, now as an ally. At one point, Lois is kidnapped by Toy Woman and replaced with a toy bot. Human-looking toy bots are Toy Woman's main weapons. As the Toy Woman and Sons of Liberty war comes to a head, Lois is rescued, but the season is cut off by COVID. The next season will conclude the story. The 2020 to 2021 season includes Superman Season 7, Wonder Woman Season 6, Justice League Season 6, Aqualad Season 2, Green Lantern Season 4, and 2 new shows, Titan Season 1, as well as The Fastest Man Alive Season 1. Season 7 concludes the Toy Woman storyline. During this, Superman gets infected by red kryptonite, Spark gets Kryptonian powers to stop him, and then Toy Woman kills Agent Liberty, and Superman defeats her. But at the same time, Lex Luthor becomes president-elect of the United States of America. In between seasons, the actor who played Firestorm was fired for some 10-year-old racist and sexist tweets. Firestorm is attacked in such a way that covers his face so as to not need to use the actor, off-screen of course, and then the character is kicked off the show, which includes Ronnie Raymond Martinstein and Dorian Day kind of. Dorian Day continues appearing from time to time, but she would have appeared a lot more had this not have happened. The actual new season begins with an arc called The Sons of Krypton. Superman finally manages to find a planet for Kandor, enlarging them there. Lobo comes to Earth and causes some trouble, but he hints at an alien coming to Earth named Mr. Oz, all while Luthor begins his presidency. For some unexplained reason, Leslie and Spark separate into 2 separate physical beings just in time for us to be introduced to someone named Shockwave, an electric-based serial killer who will be eventually redeemed and will start dating Spark. Maggie Sawyer debuts as a new prominent detective at the Metropolis Police Department. Maggie becomes laser focused on Spark, ultimately arresting her and putting her on trial, but she's later exonerated. Superman spends the next few episodes dealing with Luthor while Mr. Oz spies on him. We meet a few new Kryptonian villains who escaped Kandor and came to Earth: Akvar, Lord Zod, Equinox, and Feora. Mr. Oz is then revealed to be Jor-El, having been revealed to have been plucked out of Krypton's destruction by Darkseid after Darkseid's defeat. He escaped Apocalypse, and has since been keeping an eye on his son. He witnessed everything Clark had to deal with and concluded the world would be better off without Kryptonians. So he starts killing the Kryptonian villains. He kills 2, but is then stopped. In a 3-episode interlude, John Henry Irons leaves the show alongside Lana Lang as they move to Gotham for a better job interview after the team defeat a new Metallo. Toby's powers are expanded as she gets the Psycho Pirate's Medusa mask and then overcomes it. Allegra comes into her own as she takes down her cousin Ultraviolet, and then a 4-episode finale arc called Escape from the Phantom Zone introduces us to the real Phantom King. In a new future created by Darkseid's defeat, Clark and Lois have 2 kids, Lara, who was raised with her father this time, and her younger brother John, the future Superboy. They are brought back to the present day alongside Mon-El from the Legion of Superheroes to help fight the Phantom King army, alongside alongside a team of Kryptonians in absolutely god-awful battles. The 2021 to 2022 season includes Superman Season 8, Justice League of America Season 7, Aqualad Season 3, Titan Season 2, The Fastest Man Alive Season 2, and Static Season 1. Season 8 begins with a sort of crossover event called Invasion, a 5-part story with each one featuring heroes from other shows, while we primarily focus on Superman fighting the invasion of the alien Despero, teaming up with all of these heroes depending on the episode, and then featuring the debut of the new Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes. Along the way, they fight the Royal Flush Gang, Zotar, and Volcano. Lex Luthor gets involved and then becomes a threat in his own right. Superman finally gets the red trunks, defeats Despero, and then Luthor gets impeached, having never truly done anything interesting with his presidency. Then there's an interlude. One episode focuses on Lara and John going on an adventure of their own fighting the Royal Flush Gang, and another one focuses on Spark and Shockwave dealing with Morgan Edge while doing a lot of flirting. Then the season's second arc is called Hell on Earth, focusing on a serial killer named Colin Thornton killing people in such a way that acts as a sacrificial ritual that brings about the rise of the demon Satanus. Satanus takes over Thornton's body and raises hell. To stop him, Spark absorbs a bit of him into herself, turning her into Blaze Spark. After a fierce battle, Satanus is defeated, but Spark dies. Leslie, however, because she's a separate being, is still alive. On a second interlude, we focus on a funeral for Spark while they fight a villain named Rain, a team-up between Superman and Power Girl against one of the Kandorian Kryptonians, and then while they deal with Sunshine and Vigilante, Lex Luthor meets Indigo, the daughter of Brainiac looking for revenge. This then leads into the final arc of the season, Brains and Brawn. Indigo and Luthor team up, eventually merging to fight the team, but of course, they're defeated. Around this time, I think, I'm not exactly sure when it happened, but after a lot of flirting, Allegra and Gus start dating. And finally, Season 9, the final season of the series, and despite having some good ideas, is completely let down by the abysmal execution. The first arc is called The Curse of Superman, featuring the return of Helgramite, and then the formation of the Superman Revenge Squad, including Neutron, Volcana, Conduit, and Metallo. They all begin working for someone named Super Doom, a being from another universe who travels the multiverse killing Superman. Lois Lane finds out she's pregnant, Silver Banshee returns for one episode, Shockwave and Leslie lose their minds and try to resurrect Spark with mad science. Instead, they create a new being inhabiting Spark's body known as Astrape, a godlike being with far more powerful lightning powers. A second retcon to the origin of Spark's powers. She's a goddess, I guess. Super Doom is unmasked to reveal the Kate Wayne of another universe. They then team up with the Kate of our world from the future, who helps them defeat both them and the Superman Revenge Squad. There's then a 4-episode interlude in which Clark does not suit up as Superman until the 4th episode. Mind you, the season only has 13 episodes. One episode focuses on Allegra and Toby as they face a gang. Then the next episode features a small crossover with the Wonder Woman show as Cyclone comes over, teaming up with Lois to investigate her origins, while Shockwave tries desperately to get Astrape to fall in love with him. Then Clark and Lois get stuck in a time loop by Lady Kronos, and they get out. The 4th interlude episode in a row features the return of Supergirl, Black Lightning, and the God of Knowledge as Bruce uses his powers to become Batman once more, helping Superman defeat an escaped parasite. The final arc is called A Better Tomorrow and starts strong, featuring an epic final battle between Superman and Lex Luthor. It's well written, well executed, and it ends in Luthor finally legitimately seeing the error of his ways. However, things quickly fall apart. The Eradicator device from Season 1 takes biological form and begins to plan on resurrecting Krypton. Part 2 mostly focuses on Astrape, Lois, and the Eradicator. Superman barely appears. Part 3 mostly focuses on Toby as she becomes the superhero Virtue. Superman barely appears. And then in Part 4, the Eradicator resurrects previous Kryptonian villains like Jax-Ur, Ultraman, Bizarro, and Phantom King to fight the team. The series finale focuses on this. Power Girl returns and the super team fights the Legion of Doomsday. Once terrifying foes become trivial in the faces of the powerful forces that are Wavelength, which is Allegra, Virtue, Shockwave, Astrape, and I guess Superman and Power Girl. With the day saved, Lois gives birth to Lara, and then Sam and Toby get engaged. We go to the future to reveal that the Legion of Superheroes creation was inspired by Superman specifically, and they've added a few new members, including XS, Phantom Girl, and Dream Girl. Supergirl has also relocated to the future and joined the Legion. Superman smiles and flies towards the camera as the series comes to an end. Everyone agrees that if there's one thing that stayed consistently great throughout the entirety of the 9 seasons of this show, it's definitely not the writing, definitely not the CGI, it's Tyler Hoechlin's portrayal of Superman. Thanks so much for watching.